Hello, everyone. We'll wait for a couple of minutes more so that everyone can join, and then we'll start the session. A very warm welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for today's webinar. My name is Mahima, and I'm Senior Marketing Associate at Ingenious eBrain. Ingenious eBrain is the leading provider of high quality, customized, and cost effective IP intelligence, technology intelligence, and business intelligence solutions to various industry leaders, law firms, and innovative companies worldwide. Ingenious eBrain believes that knowledge and applied innovation with a suitable skill set are crucial to delivering the perfect solutions. Today, we'll be discussing future of cybersecurity in the era of quantum computers, in the post-quantum cryptography. And for that, we have with us our technology experts who are going to throw some light and are going to take the session forward from here. Mr. Shubham has 6 years of experience in intellectual property, patent services, especially in searching and analytics, also benchmarking company portfolios with in-depth patent analysis and market research. And he will be supported by Mr. Gaurav Santhalia, who has more than 12 years of experience in providing patent, business, and technology research solutions. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any question during the presentation, please type them into the chat window and we'll address them all at the end. Now, without any further ado, we will turn the time over to Mr. Shubham to highlight the credibility and expertise on future of cybersecurity in the era of quantum computers, post-quantum cryptography. Over to you, Shubham.
Yeah, thank you, Mahima. I welcome you all once again to this webinar on future of cybersecurity in the era of quantum computers, post-quantum cryptography. So let's just quickly understand that what all we'll be covering in this webinar. So the agenda is to cover what is the overview. So under overview, we'll be talking about what is the difference between classical computers, quantum computers, and why is there basically there's a need to talk about post-quantum cryptography. Then we'll be talking about some post-quantum cryptography architectures and different algorithms involved, which are being developed, which are in testing phase under the post-quantum cryptography. Then some testing products where different companies have been developing their algorithms and they're testing on some chips So some flagship products by some companies, strategic activities and collaborations that have happened in recent past between MNCs and universities or any startups that are being acquired or being merged with an MNC to work on this post quantum cryptography. And then we have the some IP analytics to understand that what is happening in the IP world when it comes to post quantum cryptography algorithms. So moving to the overview. So first of all, it's very important to understand that what is the difference between a classical computer and a quantum computer. So as you all know, the classical computers work on binary bits, which is 0 or 1. There is nothing in between. So either it's a 0 or it's a 1. So all the computations are restricted to only two states. But on the other hand, if we see at the quantum computers, they work on qubits, the quantum bits. And it is not only restricted to 0 and 1 state, but there are so many different other states depending on the different spins of the electrons that drastically increase the computation power of the quantum computer. So in classical computers, all the processes are done serially, one at a time. However, if we talk about the quantum computers, all of the processes are parallelly done because of the advantage of the number of states. That will more understand with the next few examples on the other slides. The one of the other challenges with quantum computers is that it is very it is very sensitive to any changes in the environment. It has to be maintained at 0 Kelvin temperature, almost 0 degrees. Then we have the electromagnetic field variations. If there is any EMF present, the states vary and the computation power is affected. Similarly, for if there are any other vibrations or any environmental factor coming into picture. So that is one of the challenges that we have with quantum computers. And with quantum computers, we see, so let's talk about the first classical computers. If we see from this video, what we have is that all there are multiple encryption keys. Hello, I believe there was some error and I was removed from the session.
That's the Nick Scarley one.
Yeah, Shivam, you're back on the meeting now.
Yeah, just give me a moment. I'm resharing my screen.
Sure.
And
Is my screen visible?
Yes, Shubham.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we look at this example here, we have multiple encryption schemes in case of a classical computer. So what this classical computer will do, it'll pick one encryption key at a time and it'll try to decrypt the data and see whether it is the correct encryption scheme or not. And there would be so many different permutations and combinations, and it would take years to find the exact encryption key that can be used to decrypt the data. But if we talk about the quantum computer, since we have so many quantum bits, so many states available, all these different encryption schemes could be processed parallelly all at once. And the quantum computer would do that in a matter of minutes or maybe say a few hours. And a person who has this quantum computer capable of this computing power, he can do that in a matter of minutes and he can decrypt the data. So if we talk about the encryption schemes today, we need to think that will they be safe once we have the quantum computers available? So moving on next, so let's just quickly talk about what is the overview. So we definitely know that there have been people talking about that quantum computers are a futuristic thing. But do we really think today that is it a futuristic thing? We know there are quantum computers available, but do they have that computational power to decrypt or break the current encryption schemes? The answer is no. They at this moment they cannot. But what about the future, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line? Will our encryption schemes be safe? Will we be able to keep our secrets a secret? That's the biggest question. Talking about quantum computing, so it's not related to any particular industry that the artificial intelligence or machine learning companies that are developing those technologies are only working on quantum computing, but it is throughout the industries. If we look at this example, this slide here, we can see that in automotive industry, there is Ford Global, there is Volkswagen, there's Bosch. Then in energy sector, we have the United States of America, we have Dubai. Under manufacturing, we have Daimler. In logistics, we have Toyota, Coca-Cola. In all, like in pharma, we have different other Roche. In finance, we have PayPal. So all these companies are investing billions of dollars in developing their capabilities for quantum computing. So if we see that since so much of investment is being done in quantum computing, but are we really thinking about what will be the after effects once we develop that quantum computer? And if any adversary who has this quantum computer can our data be still safe? That's a huge question. So the next question is our security function ready? Because we all know quantum computers are coming. There is no doubt about that. But is our security function ready? So many companies are talking about quantum computing, but few are looking at the possible massive impact on the existing cryptographic methods. So for one example is IBM. They have been aggressively working on the quantum computers. But when we look at the post quantum cryptography algorithms, there are very few developments done by IBM under post quantum cryptography algorithms. So quantum threatens businesses' ability to operate in the future because they will be unable to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of business transactions. So all transactions that we are doing, for the matter of fact, if we talk about the cryptocurrencies, all those cryptocurrencies could be hacked by a person having a quantum computer, having that enough computational power to break that encryption. Then we have projections suggest quantum computing will be viable 10 to 15 years from now, but Accenture believes it will be available by 2025. And we all know that a lot of industries have already started working on these post-quantum cryptography algorithms, and they have started submitting their different algorithms to the NIST consortium run by the US government, which is the National Institute of Standard and Technology. Then we have businesses must start preparing now because it will take a long time to assess and update cryptographic schemes across infrastructure, systems, applications, and third parties. So it's not like that we'll be replacing our encryption schemes in just a go, that it's a piece of hardware or software that we can just take out and replace it with a new one. It is a complete infrastructure that needs to be upgraded to the post-quantum cryptography encryption schemes, the different algorithms. And it's not about that a particular algorithm could work everywhere. every use case could have a different algorithm which would support that functionality. So it involves a lot of time, lot of money, lot of hard work, which needs to be done. So that's why it's important that we need to talk about post quantum cryptography today, and not we are already late. In case the quantum computers are available in the next 5 years, we do not have the encryption schemes available. So this is required to overcome the problem with currently popular algorithms to enhance the safety and security of data in all the industries, including automotive, finance, healthcare. So it's throughout the industries, as I already said, that the data is not secure, no matter which data it is, which encryption scheme it is being used. All those would be vulnerable to the quantum computers. Now we need to understand that how safe are the current encryption schemes. So we know that the most popular is asymmetric encryption. And if we talk about this asymmetric encryption, it is not safe against the quantum computers. So all the bank transactions, online purchases where this asymmetric encryption is being used, all those could be hacked by a person, by an adversary who has that access to a quantum computer. So why do we really need it today? Why do we, when we do not have the quantum computers today, and we are talking about how these quantum computers are going to affect? So there is one concern among the industry leaders that will this quantum computer be like the Y2K attack, the Y2K glitch, which happened in the year 2000? So no, so Y2K glitch was more about a restriction, the millennial where it was being completed, and the year 1900 and the year 2000 could not be differentiated because the last two digits were only considered by the different softwares and the algorithms. And there was a strict deadline that after midnight there would be errors and the system would not work. But with quantum computer, it is not the case. We know it is coming sooner or later. So we need to be prepared for that how they will be affecting it and what different algorithms and encryption schemes can we build to protect ourselves, protect the data from the different attacks done using the quantum computers. So why the urgency? Like we all, from what I've already told, that if there is a quantum computer, it would attack and it would decrypt the data in a matter of minutes. And it's not about only the data that will be securing in the future. It's about the data that we have today. For example, let's talk about some medical records that we have, and it's a very confidential data that everyone wants to keep it as confidential as possible. But a person could record that data today. He might not be able to decrypt it today, but 5 years, 10 years down the line, when he has a quantum computer, he could decrypt that data in a matter of minutes and he could access all the medical records of a person, which we would want to keep confidential for a way longer period of time. When we talk about the next 5 years or 10 years, we want to keep a secret as a secret. We do not want to be hacked on our medical records or for that matter, any other transaction that we are doing. So with the PQC schemes, with the different algorithms that we'll be developing, we'll make sure that the data that we have today will be quantum proof tomorrow as well. So to understand more on why do we need it. So if we can see the average lifespan of electronics, a mobile has approximately 5 to 8 years, laptop 3 to 10 years, vehicles, automobiles have 10 to 15 years average lifespan, and other components, there's so many other things which have a lifespan of more than 15 years. But if we see that maybe by 2030, quantum computers would be available with that computing power. So the vehicle that I'm driving today, I'm buying today with a normal encryption scheme, that will be vulnerable to all the quantum computer attacks 10 years down the line. That is why there is an urgency among the industry leaders that they have been developing and talking and doing, investing so much of money in this post quantum cryptography algorithms, because we are already too late. It'll still take another 3, 4, 5 years to implement these schemes. It can't happen over a day or over a year that we can just implement it. And the cars would be vulnerable. That in the next 3 years, all the cars would be vulnerable to the quantum computers in when we talk about 2030. So that's why it's very important to understand why do we need it and why is there an urgency about it. So next we have PQC architecture. So Mr. Gaurav Santhalia will be taking it forward from here. So Gaurav, over to you.
Thank you, Shubham, and greetings to everyone. So, I'll be taking the post-quantum computing architecture, actually how the architecture will look and what are the requirements of this PQC architecture in detail. So can we move to the next slide? Yeah. So before we understand the architecture, we need to understand two things here. Although people are confused that the both things are similar, but they are different with respect to the core aspect of the requirements. If we talk about post quantum cryptography and quantum key distribution, people try to mix it, although they are interdependent, but they are two different things here to understand on the post quantum cryptography and quantum key distribution. Now, what is post quantum cryptography? Post quantum cryptography is an encryption scheme or the cryptography schemes which try to encrypt the message using certain algorithms. It may be the quantum advanced encryption scheme or or any lattice based encryption scheme, anything. And the quantum key distribution is when you try to encrypt a message, you require a key. Now, this key could be asymmetric or symmetric. That depends on the algorithm. Now, the major part to safeguard your cryptography algorithm is dependent on the quantum key distribution, because if the key is easily disclosed by the attacker or the eavesdrop, it can attack any of the system. So what we are going to do, the quantum key distribution area is kept separate from post quantum cryptography, although the key will be used to encrypt the message, but the sharing of the key between the two parties will have a separate channel, and the normal data transfer will happen to the in bits will have a separate channel. We will discuss those parts. So we need to understand that although they are interdependent, but the research is going in two different directions: how to safeguard the quantum key distribution for the algorithm and how the algorithm can be hardened using mathematics. Even though we have the current scheme like advanced encryption schemes, but those schemes need to be mathematically hardened more with with the public key or the private key, whatever we want to do with those algorithms. The other thing is we have two algorithms as of now in the quantum area, which is the Grover's algorithm and the source algorithm. Grover's algorithm tells that if you have an unstructured database, the Grover's algorithm can determine the function within few seconds or minutes using and can attack any of those algorithms. Now, and similarly for the source algorithm, it is a primary test algorithm. You have let's say a huge number, and you want to determine whether the number is a prime number or not. The source algorithm can determine using seconds. So these two algorithms are some fastest algorithm right now in Earth with respect to any attack right now. Now, these two algorithms are quite famous with respect to the quantum attacks, because we try to check any algorithm which has been developed using the Grovers and the source algorithm, whether they are able to attack those algorithms or not. Let's say I talk about quantum encryption scheme. We will check whether the Grover algorithms or the Source algorithm is able to attack those algorithms or not, so that they can easily extract the key. So keeping these thing in mind, these algorithms are being designed going forward so that the mathematical hardness will be very to a certain extent so that nobody can attack those algorithms. Coming to the next slide. Now, this is a PQC high level diagram where you could see there's a sender, receiver, and a quantum device at the both end. Now, our laptop, which is the classical computer, is attached to the quantum device, and the quantum device will be attached to the quantum, because this is a device which will be given to the end user, and this end user will be connected to quantum computer. Basically, this is not quantum computing. What you see here, the quantum device is not the quantum computer. This device will be connected remotely with a cloud, which with the quantum computer, right? So if you see here, there are two channels here. One is the classical channel and one is the quantum channel here, which is connected between two devices. Now, I mean to say that the normal data transfer will take place to the classical channel, and the key exchange, the quantum key exchange, will take through the quantum channel, so that this channel remains secure and nobody can attack this channel basically. So coming to the next slide. So right now the research is going on. The existing algorithm has to be upgraded with respect to the mathematics, and the key, the key has to be more solid and more mathematically complex, so that they can be not crack easily. So next slide. So now if you see the final architecture here, if you see that we have used shown that the QAES, which is a quantum advanced encryption scheme, there is a cipher, and we have a key QK, which is a quantum key, and both the sender and receiver are here, and the key is shared between the two users, which is a QK, and the key is shared between with the quantum cipher. But the normal the classical channel is there, we can transfer the text. So basically what will happen, you have a plain text that will be encrypted using the key, and that key will be that encrypted text will be transferred to the classical channel, but the key on the both side will be having the transfer, the communication of the key will take place using the quantum channel basically, so that we can secure this. Like nowadays in the current time we use like VPN and all for the security, will use the quantum channel to secure the key, and hence these two channel has been kept separate, so that the key is not disclosed to any, or even the keys disclosed, they are not easy to decrypt basically. So that's the basic architecture which will take place in PQC with respect to any of the device which we are using right now. Next. So we will be discussing some of the advancement in the cryptography era. So earlier in before 2019, we have like AES or 3DS, which is the symmetric key. So symmetric key, sorry, symmetric key is basically we are using the private key here. Basically, advanced key or the 3DS. Basically, we had a DS algorithm, then it came 3DS, three times. The algorithm were iterated there. And then by 2025 and 2019, we have like RSA, or the electrical cyclic digital signature algorithm and all, where these were asymmetric algorithms. And now the research is going on the post quantum cryptography algorithm, which is the lattice based, hash based, and the code based. Now, as Shubham indicated, it will depend on the application where to use what algorithms, because there is a requirement of space, there is a requirement of computations, everything will be taken into account, and accordingly the particular algorithm will be selected. Maybe for automobile industry there will be separate algorithm, for like security chips there may be other algorithm. It depends on the requirements or the applications. And the fourth is the which we are looking for in 2020 till 2028 is QKD plus OTP, which is basically the quantum key distribution, which I was speaking. The research is going on how to secure the key, and the OTP is something related to, we have a random number, pseudo random number, which is the size of a message, and that message is basically a private key to encrypt the message. So with the help of QKD and the OTP, the system will be more hardened and more secure. So that research is going is as or is yet to begin in a very tremendous way. But yes, current focus is to how to harden the cryptography algorithm, and the next research would be on the quantum key distribution side, how to securely transfer the key between two parties, basically. Next. So right now, as I said, there are two algorithms, which is SOAR algorithm and the global algorithm. They are the most fastest algorithm right now. So we have listed is 6 algorithms which are being considered in the post-quantum era. This is a lattice-based, hash-based, multivariant cryptography, code-based, super singular elliptical curve, and symmetric key quantum resistance. Now, these algorithms, if it see, even though they are the current algorithm which we are using for multiple applications, but this algorithm has been found safe against source and the Grover algorithm by hardening the mathematics or the algorithm part with respect to the with the source and Grover algorithm. Why? Because as I said, Grover algorithm can quickly determine the target of the unstructured database within few minutes. So the lattice based or the hash based algorithm are made so hardened in terms of mathematics so that they are not vulnerable to the source and the global error. So for any algorithm which is to be adapted in the post quantum era, SOAR and Grover algorithm will be checked first whether they are vulnerable algorithms or not. Unless until the simulation or the data is found that they are safe, they won't be accepted for the post-quantum era. So this is the benchmark which we are setting for the post-quantum cryptography, that they should not be vulnerable to SOAR and Grover algorithm, even though we don't have quantum computers right now. But it has been found these two algorithms can destruct any of the current algorithms. So the hurdle is even though we make a statement that the current algorithms could be broke down, the only hurdle is we cannot make this statement unless until they are commercially available. But in the research, it has been found these two algorithms can break all those current encryption. So currently, these 6 algorithms had been made hardened in the mathematical aspect so that they are not vulnerable to these two algorithms. Hence, the encryption, the key distribution part research is going with respect to these 6 algorithms, and there are a couple of more algorithms which are in the research, which we can talk later on. So this was all from the PQC architecture side. And Subham, can we take to the next slide? Yeah. Yes, Subham. So this slide will be taken by Subham going forward now.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav, for explaining the architecture and the different algorithms involved. So all the technicalities related to the post-quantum cryptography algorithms. So it's just an overview of how different players are investing in different types of algorithms. So if we see at lattice-based cryptography, we can see that Nanjing Technical University, Singapore, ESCrypt, they are working on this lattice based. On the other hand, in multivariate, we have Thales, Infineon, Castle Shield, and we can see that Infineon has recently tested one of their post-quantum cryptography algorithms on a smart card chip. So we'll talk more about that example in the next few slides. So coming to hash-based cryptography, we have Nanjing Technical University, Singapore. We have Communique. Communique is also working on code-based cryptography. Under super singular elliptic curve isogeny cryptography, we only have Tulsa Labs. And under symmetric key quantum resistance, we have a lot of players who have been working. SK Telecom, SSH.com, Qrate, Castle Shield again. They are also working on the multivariate cryptography. So this is just an overview on how different players are investing and in what kind of algorithm. Next, we'll look at the different products, the flagship products, which different companies are testing and what they're developing exactly. Just to get an overview of what these companies are doing and where this post-quantum cryptography algorithms are leading to. So Infineon recently tested their post-quantum key exchange scheme on a contactless smart card chip using the algorithm New Hope. So which they call their quantum resistance crypto system. They are developing a New Hope algorithm, which was successfully tested. So multiple challenges that people face in implementing the post-quantum cryptography algorithms are the small chip size, because considering these algorithms would be bulky, limited memory capacity, executing a complex algorithm and transaction speeds. But no matter these challenges, this was a successful test, and this New Hope algorithm was also submitted at the NIST. And next we have a product by PQ Shield, which is a startup, and they've developed a system on chip which offers software solutions in the form of a cryptographic SDK that can be integrated into mobile and server apps and technologies for data processing and security operations. So they provide technological decision makers and organizations with future-proof encryption that quantum computers couldn't readily penetrate. So this is an integrated solution where they're providing their services and their encryption schemes on mobile phones and different software and applications, where that toolkit could be integrated into your existing systems and safeguard your data against the multiple quantum computer attacks in the future. Then we have a collaboration between ComUnique and PolyDigitech in the automobile sector, where we know that the biometrics are being used in automobiles to authenticate the user. Considering that the biometrics is a very confidential data and it needs to remain confidential. So for that, PolyDigitech and ComUnique have partnered together to develop a technology which is quantum safe, and they both have their patent pendings in this area. So ComUnique is supplying the quantum safe encryption solution IronCap for PolyDigitech to integrate into their ActiFID to create a remarkably secure product, automotive mobile keyless solution. So the multiple advantages that they have is obviously it is quantum safe, in which case the future data will be secure. That is a practical solution because we know biometrics is coming into the picture a lot and we need to safeguard that data, and multiple other efficiency, the credibility and versatility of that solution. Next, we have some strategic activities and collaborations between companies that have happened in the recent past. So we see here that the Token Printing has collaborated with National Institute of Information and Communication Technology for the healthcare industry to provide the long-term integrity and confidentiality protection system. So as I already said earlier, that it's not related to a particular industry. We have seen an example from the automobile industry. Here we have an example of the healthcare industry. So these quantum computers will be affecting all the industries, irrespective of what the data is. Then we have the CDS group collaborating with Post Quantum. So Post Quantum is again a startup which has been developing these post-quantum cryptographic algorithms, and recently their multiple algorithm inputs at the NIST have been shortlisted. So the CDS group works in the domain of super yachts, where the yachts are communicating so much of data with the harbors or with the weather departments, and all that data is being safeguarded by the post-quantum and their software and their algorithms on the post-quantum cryptography. Then we have the collaboration, the partnership between National University of Singapore. They have a program called Quantum Engineering Program with Thales. and then they're working on the vehicle navigation systems without the need of global positioning systems, and how that data could be safeguarded. Next we have is Seraphim and Arcade Quantum Inc., where Seraphim has acquired Arcade Quantum Inc. to develop and expand their capabilities in the post-quantum area. Then we have Bosch, which has collaborated with QSoft and IonQ as well. So if we talk about QSoft, so sorry, they have invested so much with the QSoft for potential quantum computing use cases, where different we all know that Robert Bosch provides a lot of inputs to the automobile sector, and then together with QSoft, they are developing their capabilities with the for the post quantum era, where the quantum computers would be available to us. And similarly with INQ, that is a research collaboration for next 2 years, that how they will be working on different algorithms. And INQ plans on making its computers commercially available via the cloud and developing next generation systems for programming these machines. Then we have is some IP perspective, that what is happening in the IP world when we talk about the post-quantum cryptography algorithm. Because if we know that some technology is being developed, it's in the R&D phase, and a lot of testing and a lot of investment is being done. So we also need to understand that how are different patents being filed, what are the different trends, who are the major players who are working in this area. So let's just have a quick look through these charts. So here we have that Rubin quantum technology is the highest, is the player with the highest number of patents. The Rubin quantum technology was started in 2018, and from then they started filing. They have approximately filed around 170 patents, and out of those 170 patents, they have 86 under post quantum cryptography algorithms. And all of these 86 patents have been filed in China. And then we have a look at American Express. They have 30 odd patents, and out of these 30 patents, 29 have been filed in the US, and only one is, I believe, filed in India. And similarly is the case of Intel, where they have filed 29 patents, and all of them have been filed in US again. And there are other multiple players. We have Isara, we have Philips, we have IBM. So earlier I was talking about IBM, where they are developing their quantum computers. But if we see that there are only 12 patents which have been filed under post-quantum cryptography algorithms. And however, they have a huge patent set on quantum computers. Then we have some universities, Institute of Information Engineering, CAS, South China University Technology, Thales, and Siemens, who have also been filing in the post-quantum cryptography. Let's see who are the new players who have been recently active in this area. So majorly these are universities who have been either working in collaboration with MNCs in partnerships, or they're working individually on these post-quantum cryptography algorithms. So we have again Institute of Information Engineering, CAS, we have Beijing, Baidu. Then there are a lot of, we have Reliance Geo Intercom also, we have SDCC, we have Shidian University. So there are a lot of universities who have been recently filing in this area. Next is the legal status scenario, that how are these patent applications that are being filed aggressively, how do they fare when it comes to being granted. So out of the total patents, 297 patents have been granted already. And if we talk about these granted patents, majority of them have been granted in the US, followed by China and Korea respectively. And when we talk about the pending 430 patent applications, The trend is the other way around, where we have a lot of applications pending in China, 167 of them, which have been filed in China and are still pending, followed by 115 in the US. So China is aggressively working in this area as of now. Then there is the filing and publication trend, that how are these patents being filed? What was the trend? How it exactly started? So we know that post quantum cryptography was somewhere talked about around 2014. And since then, we can see there has been an increase in the filings. And if we talk about year 2017, 18, we can see how aggressively, once people got to know and understood the requirement and the urgency of this, and we can see by 2021, it has been really aggressive on how patents are being filed. Then moving on to the jurisdictions. So this is, as I already mentioned in the previous slide, that Rubin Quantum Technology has filed all of its 86 patents in China itself. And American Express, 29 in the US, one in India. We have Intel again, all the different patent applications have been filed in the US. Isara again in the US. Philips has been filing in Europe. IBM again in US. So this is just an overview and how different companies are targeting which all jurisdictions, and how they want to have a strategy of their different post quantum cryptography algorithms. Next is some technology charts to understand that from rather than from filing trends and jurisdictions, let's also understand from technology part that under which all different algorithms are the patents being filed. So if we see under the hash-based cryptography, we can see that a lot of patents have been filed under the HMAC, which is the hash-based message authentication code, and followed by the SHA algorithm. Under code-based, we have Michaelis algorithm. And under multivariate, we have MQDSS followed by Rainbow. And under symmetric key quantum resistance, it has been filed under RES. And there are multiple other post-quantum cryptography algorithms which people have been working on. So that is digital certificates. We all know digital certificates are heavily used in different authentications. We can see that 258 patent applications have been filed under digital certificates. Then we have super singular elliptic curve isogeny cryptography, and there's a 300 plus patents filed under this. And there's only one more prominent algorithm, which is the X25519 key exchange. Then what we found out from our analysis while doing this IP analysis on this post-quantum cryptography algorithm was that we could identify that automobile sector is heavily investing in this area, where the security and the different encryption schemes in vehicles are being talked about. And we have just done a quick deep dive into what is happening in the automobile sector when it comes to post-quantum cryptography algorithms. So you can see under hash-based, however, HMAC was the leader in number of patent applications when it came to the overall scenario. But if we see at inside vehicles, inside automobiles, we have 42 patents filed under the SHA algorithm in comparison to the HMAC, which has only 27 here. Then we have digital certificates, rightly said. So because there is so much of authentication required, and there's a huge amount of patents which have been filed here. But under code-based cryptography, we do not have anything very prominent. And same goes for lattice-based. So people have followed that hash-based cryptography, and specifically SHA and HMAC algorithms could be used in the automobile sector for securing the vehicles in the post-quantum era. And similarly, we have super singular elliptic curve isogeny cryptography, where 74 patents have been filed for securing the vehicles And we have symmetric key quantum resistance AES, where 63 patents have been filed. Then X25519 key exchange, 27 patents, but nothing very prominent with other algorithms which were like no one much is filing under these algorithms in overall scenario as well. So I would just like to conclude this webinar by saying that it is imperative that the search and development in post-quantum cryptography is expedited and standardized, considering the stakes where quantum computers are available, but the cryptographic techniques are not. And from the previous slide, we could see that HMAC, the hash-based message authentication code, has been the major algorithm where people have thought that this could be the one which could safeguard the data in the post-quantum era. And already, again, I've already mentioned that the automobile industry has been the hotspot in the post-quantum cryptographic techniques. So with this, I would just like to open the floor for any questions that we have, and we can have a discussion on anything related to the post-quantum cryptography algorithms. We would be happy to take the questions from here. Mahima, do we have any questions in the chat box?
Yes, Shubham. There's one question regarding what do you mean by QTP posted by Mr. Burchard. So if you can answer that.
Sure. Let me just go back to that slide. Yeah. So here it wasn't QTP, so it's QKD, which is the quantum key description. Sorry, quantum key distribution. In addition to the OTP, which as Gaurav explained that it is a pseudo number.
It's a OTP like one-time pad generation. It's similar to the pseudo random code, which will be of a big message, and that will be added with quantum key distribution because the key has there will be a key which will be used for the encrypting the algorithm. So OTP is something in the quantum area which is similar to pseudo random code, but the size is very large, and it's a private key. Basically, you can consider OTP as a private key, and that will be used in the collaboration with the quantum key distribution for generating the keys. One time, it's basically one time pad generations.
Hope it answers your question, Mr. Burchard. Shubham, we also have a query from Rudiger. Mr. Rudiger, if you can share us the query you are having.
So I hope you can hear me now.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this is Rudiger. I have two questions. One is, what is the expected additional overhead over the existing cryptography solutions that is required? And the second one is that goes back to the crypto channel that was on the slide before, on a couple of slides before, with the arrows on the lower part. My question is, would anybody trying to use this to have a quantum device on both ends? I mean, this would be a very expensive solution.
Hello. Actually, this because the currently the architecture which is given by the industry is it is not possible to purchase quantum computers commercially at this stage by everyone. So
Yeah.
what we can do, what industry has given the solution, there will be a device which will be maybe in an affordable rate, where they will be connected to our traditional system, and that device will be remotely connected to the quantum computer, because the quantum computer itself is a very huge investment which we cannot afford, but we can afford this device, if you see, which is given by the industry actually. So if we see, this device actually will safeguard our current system. That's the idea behind having these two devices at both ends. Because we cannot purchase a quantum computer and keep at home, because that is not possible as of now.
Of course. And it could be the same quantum device on both ends, because everybody is renting it.
Yeah, because there will be optical channel. If you see, Subham, can you move to the next slide? the next slide. Yeah, one more. Yeah, if you see, this quantum channel will be a optical channel which will be separated from the traditional channel, because see, even though we have the encryption scheme, that's what I'm telling, we need to safeguard the key, because unless until you, because if the key is disclosed, there is a high chances that people may go ahead and decrypt that key. So we need to safeguard the key. Hence, they have kept the separate channel for this communication of the key distribution.
Yeah, but you don't need the wait. May I ask? Yeah. You don't need the fiber channel between the quantum devices if they are identical on both sides. If it's the same device, if you rent it from, say, Microsoft or IBM or Google, and both do it on both ends, you don't have any fiber channel in between.
But this channel will be to this quantum channel will be over the internet, because they will separate infrastructure for that. Because these channels, I agree with you, because these channels, which I'm talking about, quantum channels, will be a separate channel through the internet. Maybe they will be like the hotlines which we used to have earlier, maybe. So that has to be, the research is going in this direction to see the quantum key distribution side, basically. So it's a very initial layout which is given by the industry which we are talking about.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And the overhead question?
Pardon, which one?
The first one I asked about the additional overhead compared to classical crypto algorithms.
Okay, so the additional overhead, are you talking about the computational part?
Yes.
Yeah, see, yes, as the algorithm get complex, the computation will be more high. So basically, that will totally depend on the system which we'll be having right now. Because see, we gave an example of Infineon, which has developed a quantum chip which will be used in the passport. So we may use, the algorithm will depend on the use cases where we try to implement it. Although the research is going on the semiconductor, because we are going ahead for the 3D ICs, the 3D semiconductor ICs, where more cores will be implemented. These computations will be handled by those devices, because there's a collaboration of the industry, there's a collaboration of communication industry, there's a collaboration of software industry. So if we see the quantum computing part, there are four dimensions here. One is the quantum communication, one is the quantum devices, one is the quantum algorithm, and one is related to like the security part. So these all will take care of this computation part, because once the computation increase for the encryption part, we need to have that hardware to be supported at our end system. So that's the thing that will be taken care by this the multi-core processors, basically.
Thanks a lot.
Right? Yeah.
So we are about time. So any further questions if we have, we can quickly take up.
We'll be sharing this PPT, and if we can have any discussion further, we can connect one-to-one for those queries also. So Mahima will be mailing all this PPT to all our guests, and maybe if we have any question further, we can connect one to one to understand more prospect of this PQC architecture.
Perfect.
Over to you, Mahima.
Yes, sure. So it looks like we have covered all the questions. And Shubham, is there anything else you wanted to cover up before we wrap up?
No, Mahima, that's all from my side. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. And as Gaurav has already shared, we will be sharing the highlights of the webinar with you very soon. And also, we will be happy to assist you with any of your business queries related to any of our services. Don't hesitate to get in touch if you have any questions at our website, that is iebrain.com, or send us an email at our official email ID, that is info@iebrain.com. So thank you once again for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you.